Thank you, and good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Miranda. I've been with Oracle for 26 years. I manage the development organization for our applications. And I have a relatively simple objective today. As I go around the world and I meet with lots of customers, I get lots of questions around what they should do with Oracle investments in general and what they should do with cloud in particular. And most of the questions boil down really into three areas. Why should I move to cloud? If I'm going to move to the cloud, why I should move the cloud to Oracle? And if I'm going to move to Oracle, how should I start, or why should I do it now? So throughout this presentation, I want you to keep in mind, and I will talk about this with specific examples, and I'll have a couple customers join me on stage to give you specific examples of why we feel very strongly that not only can we manage your business successfully today, but we can help you transform that business into lower cost, higher efficiency, and better data to actually run your business. So let me first start with the first one as far as the why move to the cloud at all. And this depends on what industry you're in or what part of the world you're in, but we see the same theme over and over and over again, which is the blend of technology innovation together with both business innovation as well as business pressures are leading more customers to become much more agile businesses. Whether you're under threat from being disintermediated, whether you're under threat from an Amazon or Uber or any flavor of a new company in your area, or whether you have the opportunity to take your assets, your products, your people, and to deploy those in ways that you never could before, the speed of change is increasing, both technology-wise and business pressure-wise, to innovate, to compete, to modernize. And in fact, it's not only the speed of change that's increasing, but in mathematical terms, sort of that second derivative, the speed of the speed is increasing going forward. And we feel very strongly that now we've reached this tipping point, that organizations not only need to be efficient at what they're doing today, but they need to be efficient in that speed of change. Now, why then cloud with this innovation? In the old model, and when I say the old model, not only Oracle, but frankly Oracle and the entire industry, it was very common for us to put out a release of the software, maybe once every 2.5, 3.5 years, for a company to implement that software, maybe a year after it was available, taking again a year, and then frankly to stay on that software for a long time. I talk to customers all the time. When's the last time you upgraded the e-business suite, or PeopleSoft, or Siebel, or our Hyperion products, or SAP, or JD Edwards, any product? Very common answer. We upgraded 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 7 years ago. I just met with a customer this morning, upgraded 10 years ago, and that was extremely common. When you're upgrading at that pace, the pace of innovation that your partner, in this case Oracle, or my team doing development, is frankly a little bit irrelevant. Because even if we're delivering new features, new functionality, new technical innovations every few months, if you can't deploy that upgrade for years, it's irrelevant to you. You're great partners with Oracle, you pay Oracle a lot of money, we do the best we can to innovate, and without the ability to execute, it falls short. So the single most important element that the cloud brings is speed. We've gone from releases every 2 to 3 years in a very unpredictable fashion to updates, not upgrades, but updates to our software every quarter. We just released in January our release 19A. In April, we'll release 19B. In July, we'll release 19C, et cetera, et cetera. And those updates are just like updates that you receive on your mobile device. You and I may have an iPhone. Apple does innovation. Applications do innovation. At point in time when it makes sense for us, we click Update. And that application is downloaded, and it runs on our application. And we do not have to re-enter our contacts. We do not have to reset our calendar settings. We do not have to change anything that we've personalized. But we get that speed of innovation automatically and frequently. And then as we go forward, you can turn on features as you see fit. And the same is very much true for cloud. So the number one single most element for why cloud, and I'm going to get into particular features in a moment, is it allows us the capability to innovate with speed, but more than us being able to innovate, to deliver to you, our customers, that speed so you can actually execute and run those applications. And so when you hear about the innovation I'm going to show in a moment, I want you to think about it in two ways. It's not only the features that I'll be talking about we have today, but the infrastructure and the mechanism allows us to deliver the features on a go-forward basis. And it was quite interesting, as Alon was speaking, I was looking at the beautiful shot of the skyline of Dubai being here, and there were two things I noticed. One is the tremendous progress that is in that skyline today, and I've been coming here for several years, buildings you couldn't see before, et cetera. But it's probably the only skyline in the world that I've seen in that picture that had just about as many cranes in doing construction as actual buildings. Dubai, it's a good representation of the cloud here, represents the tremendous progress so far, but also what's yet to come. And with the infrastructure we have in cloud, we feel very strongly we can enable your businesses, and I'll be detailing some of that in a moment. But again, that's easy for me to say, but the proof is really in the pudding. We have customers now all over the world, and in fact, even ignoring our acquired products, just in our organically built ERP, EPM, supply chain, HR, and CX cloud, we now have well over 6,000 customers we manage in our cloud today, from some of the biggest organizations in the world to smaller organizations, many right here in the Middle East, including global companies around the world. Large, small, running our ERP, EPM, supply chain, manufacturing, and so much so that with confidence, I go out to every customer around the world knowing whatever you're running from Oracle in the past, we now have the feature functions capability to run your business in the cloud today and achieve those benefits. And you see just a sampling of those here. So, why cloud? Speed of innovation, uptake of technology, allow you to move forward. Now, okay, but that's nice. Cloud brings good things, but there's lots of places you can go and lots of choices for cloud. Why Oracle? And at Oracle, we feel very strongly that we deliver the world's most innovative application cloud. And that innovation comes in several elements. First and foremost, is what I talked about before. The depth and the breadth of the capabilities, having a complete suite of applications from financials, ERP and EPM, supply chain manufacturing, core HR, and our what we call customer experience, sales, service, marketing. We allow you not only the ability to run your entirety of your business in the cloud, but because of the depth and the breadth of the suite, we allow you the flexibility that you can choose the path to get there. Because you can choose to start with HR and add financials. You can start with planning and budgeting and add core GL. You can start with the core financials and add supply chain manufacturing. And it de-risks the migration to the cloud because of the completeness and the depth of the strength to allowing you choices on how to get there and migrate. All assured that it's on the same platform, enterprise grade, to run your business, be you a big company, a small company, or points in between. And then what we've done is now that we feel strongly we have the baseline capability of that completeness and depth of suite, is we started to innovate around technology and add things like artificial intelligence or machine learning, blockchain capabilities, and IoT capabilities, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. Now, let me first start by a pervasive set of features we're adding throughout the application. Some people talk about it in terms of artificial intelligence. I prefer machine learning. But essentially what it allows you to do is change the way you think about applications and their business functionality. And you can start thinking of it instead of what are rules-driven, where you have to figure out, well, what is it that I want to see in my workflow, or how is it that I want things to work, and have it be much more model-driven. And by that I mean where the machine can detect patterns in your business and determine what is correct. For example, approvals and approval limits. Very simple example. State of the art today is you have to define approval limits. for purchase orders, for journal entries, for expense reports, for all sorts of things. And you may get more and more complicated on rules. Well, what really happens? I'm a manager at an Oracle. I approve lots and lots of expense reports. I have lots of purchase orders, lots of hires, lots of promotions, lots of transactions. Well, what do I really do? I'm looking for exceptions. I'm looking for high-dollar purchase amounts. I'm looking for extraordinarily expense reports. I'm looking for journal entries of a certain type. I'm looking for hires of a certain type. And so, frankly, most of what I do with approvals is I blindly approve them. I look for exceptions. This is not exception. It's OK. Approved. Approved, 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 approved. Then every so often, I get something that triggers that threshold, and it's an exception. So what do? I send that back for more information. Why are we doing this? Why are we promoting this person? Why are we giving this raise? Why is this happening? And it's maybe a 1 in 100 type of thing. Now, my exceptions are very different from my peers' exceptions. They're very different from my manager's exceptions. They're different from the people who work for me, their exceptions. So there is no way that IT sets up rules to govern all of those cases. It would take us too long. You couldn't maintain them. With machine learning, we now can detect patterns. So the machine will know these are the type of things that Steve asks questions about. These are the type of things he approves right away. These are the type of things my peer asks questions about. These are the type of things they approve right away. And instead of a blind, rules-driven approval process, we can all of a sudden start giving recommendations. This is what you should approve. Here are some things that are suspicious. Here's what questions we have. And you can transform, again, from rules to automated. It goes then from manual, where I have to look at everything, to automated for me. It goes from static, meaning I get every single approval regardless of what it is, to much more contextual, meaning I get the context of what it is. And it goes from user-driven, meaning I have to physically sit there and do it, to the machine doing it for me. And I give you a very simple example on just approvals. But really, everything we're doing across all of the applications is going to be affected by machine learning, from intelligent applications, intelligence of UI, and brand new user interfaces. So let me cover all three very, very quickly. Intelligent applications, things we never could do before. Financials, audit, giving you a machine learning that will allow you to detect suspicious transactions based on patterns. In supply chain planning, allowing you again to have the machine optimize your patterns based on everything it knows and has learned going forward. An algorithmic solution to a complicated problem. Next, contextual user interfaces. All of you experience this today, whether you realize it or not. You're on your phone and you're texting. And when you send someone a text or an email, you get some recommendation for what word is next. And over time, that phone or whatever device you have gets better, not about everybody in general, but about what you are saying in context, and gets better and better. Lots of our users spend lots of time inputting data into our system. We can get better at contextually defaulting and make it much faster and much more streamlined. But the most exciting area is the third one, which we all call conversational agents. And today they're probably most commonly known as bots, or you may see them in your home as these digital assistants or devices. Think Siri, think Alexa at home, think the Google Home appliance. And more we feel that the interaction you'll have with all systems will be voice-enabled and conversation-enabled. Let me give you an example in our HR system. There are two overwhelmingly common requests for HR. The first very common request of HR is, have I been paid? Has my paycheck been deposited into my bank account? Today, we have a nice user interface. You can go self-service. You can find that. However, we now have that enabled via the bot, so that you can use SMS to text a bot and get the answer automated to you. Or you can use Slack and get it automated to you. Or we have an Alexa skill, so you don't even have to be in the office. You could be at home. Alexa, ask Oracle, where is my paycheck, or where is my pay stub, and go forward. Vacation balance, phone numbers, any transactions you want for inquiry, enabling via bot and a conversational user interface. And again, to go back to the Skyline example, Today, there are things that we know about SMS, Slack, Alexa, Google Home, etc. In 3 years and 5 years, as that evolves into whatever the user interface of the day is, you will have that same conversational machine learning user interface into your transactional system going forward. And this will only increase going forward. And to supplement this, one of the key elements we needed was we added data. And so with one of the recent acquisitions, we now have a wealth of B2B data to help facilitate transactions and learning into the system, so that not only can we make decisions around purchase orders, around supplier data, around invoicing, based on what you know, but because you're in the cloud, and because there are elements of data out in the world, Oracle is bringing that data into your systems to help drive those decisions over and over, adding machine learning and data into your transactional systems to improve the transaction systems. Then once you get below machine learning, there is a host of features we have in every single product area. And the key here is, if you look at on the left-hand side, the speed. So I talked about the releases every quarter moving forward. In ERP and EPM, every quarter we added over 100 new features in each and every release. So think of that phone application you have on your phone, you download it, you have more and more capabilities, both machine learning capability, reporting capability, integration UIs, and feature functions that you, our customers, have asked us to add to keep the product going faster. And all of these improvements are now being run by 100% of our customers, because they all get upgraded at the same time once every quarter. To cover just a couple, the first one here, I talked about digital assistants generally. In financials, we've added a digital assistant for ERP. And the first example we've used is for expense reporting. So the old way, if you're all, some of you have traveled, I've traveled on this trip, I would go on this trip, I'd gather my receipts, I'd go back home, I would enter my receipts into my desktop on my computer. Now, with the digital assistant, I take a photograph of that receipt. We use machine learning on character recognition. We can determine, is that a hotel stay? Is that a travel charge, Uber, or a gas charge? Is it a meal? If it happens to be a meal, we could recognize, is it breakfast, lunch, or dinner, based on the time of the meal on your receipt. It also has the number of attendees, so we can try to figure out, well, did you eat dinner or eat breakfast with 3 people, or 5 people, or 8 people? Then we can enforce your policies right on the receipt, so that if you have a certain limit for breakfast, lunch, or dinner for certain people, we can enforce and warn you there. And once that character recognition recognizes the receipt, it tells you what it is, you either correct it or you hit submit, and you are done. Your expense report has been filed, your payment is on its way, you don't have to do anything else going forward. And over time, because every single person across all those thousands of customers who have that expense report starts taking photographs of the receipt, that algorithm on character recognition and learning how to read receipts and learning what a merchant is and learning all kinds of different things people spend money on, that algorithm gets better and better and better and better. And it doesn't get better just for you individually, it gets better for everybody as we train on character recognition going forward. One simple example of a bot fundamentally transforming how business is done today. But there's many more in financials around process automation, around intelligent performance management, again, adding machine learning across the board in any areas, including financials. And another part of innovation, when I talk about the hundreds of new features, some of those happen to be more tactical features in an area, but oftentimes we add major new products, in this case, subscription management. So with subscription management, what we found was, like Oracle, many of you are not only offering products in a traditional way, but you're now offering essentially subscriptions or rent-as-you-go type of capabilities. And so what we've added to our core financial product was capabilities to track contracts, track entitlements of the contracts, and do a subscription type of billing to further enable you to transform your business into a modern fashion with modern capabilities. And again, something we wouldn't have been able to do years in past with just long cycles for you to uptake. Once again, subscription management out and available to every single one of our customers. But instead of me continuing to go on, let me now, it's my pleasure, to welcome on stage a customer from DP World. And before I welcome him on stage, let's show you a short video about what DP World does and who they are. Can we roll the video?
More efficient, safer, faster, to lead the future of world trade. We are pioneers, creating a new future that others will follow. DP World.
Thank you. So it's my pleasure to have with us today Teo Chen Sheng, who's the SVP of IT for DP World. Thank you for being here today with us.
Hi, everybody. I'm leading the digital transformation of DP World. And just a short introduction, right? We are now in 40 countries, having 78 ports. Very diverse across the world. And most importantly, 80% of what you are using now in this meeting room has been done and shipped through DP World port. So 3 years ago, we decided that we need to transform, we need to innovate, and we need to disrupt global trade. We did not ask Oracle as a technology, but we asked ourselves and we involved all our people. Who do we involve from the lower level to the upper level to the middle level, and we come together like a rugby or a football match. We begin to think together, agree and disagree together, and we come up with a digital strategy. So 2 years ago, this is where I come in. We transformed this to say that what do we want from technology point of view? 3 things. We want less headache implementing technology. Remember, we have 40 data centers around the world, big headache. We can't upgrade in time. The 10 years is very typical. We have lots of problems to justify the A, B, C, D, E, F hardware. So what do? Out goes the data center. We should not have the data center headache because I do not want to care about security. I do care. I do not want to care about scalability because we are going digital. It means that our data center, our computation needs will be big. We do not want to care about having enough DBA. You guys have this headache, security, DBAs, IT people like me. Sometimes it's very difficult to hire because the market is growing so fast. We do not want the headache. So out goes data center. If I don't have data center, how can I have a digital DP world? So comes the second thing. Cloud technology to us offer us the things that we want to. No data center to dream about, to manage. Security, high accessibility. And for example, in Africa, where we don't have even facility to run data center, can we run it out of the cloud? So we found a solution that cloud computing will allow me to scale to the lowest part of the earth to the highest and most developed market of DP world where we operate in. The second thing that we want to look at cloud is that we want a technology platform that allows us to grow and adopt and adapt. So take for example, one of the hot buttons that everyone is talking about and we are concentrating on is blockchain. Do we know what to do with blockchain? Yes. Are we implementing blockchain? The answer is in various flavor, purely because there are so many standards. Who do we approach? So we want to have a choice. So we need a vendor that gives us a choice of technology of today, technology of the future, and technology that we don't even know, right? And the third thing that we are looking for cloud is this. Remember, we are not here to serve only the financials. Even though we are a $4.7 billion company, we are here to serve our customer. We are here to make sure that if we are offering a service, we give them a perfect service. We give them a service that is hassle-free. We give them a service that is integrated to their e-commerce strategy. We want to give the manufacturer a service that they cannot even dream about, the Uber of logistics, the utility of logistics. So how can we do that? So we need a partner. So 2 years ago, we evaluated the world, and we decided to grow from what we have, which is Oracle, EBS. So we say to Oracle, we want the data center out, we want flexibility and less headaches, we want partnership. And this is what we have done in the last 1 year. It was not only a cloud strategy, but a partnership strategy. It was not only a technology strategy, but it also the buying strategy of DP World as a company. Yeah. The company, our chairman, the leader, he leads the foray. Our management, our middle management, and our working group. So with this, we are, as you see in the video, we want to disrupt you. We want to disrupt the chairs that you're sitting on. We want less headache. We want more value to you as a customer, and hopefully we will see results very soon. A long one.
Yeah, this is going to be the easiest interview I've ever done. I didn't even have to ask you. Let me ask you a couple questions. So just to recap, 40 countries, 78 ports, $4.7 billion
and growing.
Company, and growing. Now, you wanted to set a foundation, so maybe you can give the audience a little bit from Oracle, at least in cloud. Where did you start? What did you implement? What do you have running right now? Just a little context so they can understand.
Right. So DP will grow out of this place, Dubai. All right. So as we grow, we acquire companies, and each acquired company has different financials and the complexity. So the first thing that we do was that cloud give you a means to force standardization. So we use the fabric of the architecture of the solution that Steve Miranda group has done, and we create what we simply call the global template, but it's more than a template, right? It's a way that we define ourselves. So we have four groups of things that we define in a standard form. New way to do financials. New way to handle our employees' data. New ways to handle our procurement data. And new way to define our service information structure. This is where we start. And guess what happened? The organization was very skeptical, but later on when they saw the benefits of standardization, they saw the benefits of having a folly of not only implementing what I need now, but the outer ring of possibility. Steve just showed mobility. Intelligent accounts receivable checking. These are things that we will never dream of. Today, if you want, we can implement.
Yeah.
Right?
So you've got core financials, including procurement, GLAP procurement, the core HR, and that's from both an e-business suite upgrade as well as different systems from the different acquired companies, et cetera. That's
how we started, right? We started with the back end.
Right. And so maybe you could describe, you talk about a fast-moving company, fast-growing company, very dispersed. If you had to give the audience sort of, you talk about, combining processes versus the old world of on-premise. Time it took, lessons learned, kind of benefits you've seen. Can you maybe give them a flavor for either some of the benefits or some of the timing or advice you might have for the audience?
Okay, I think one benefit is agility. Each of us have this IT formula to say that if you want to set up a new company, come back to us in 6 months and we implement it in another 6 months. This particular business unit that we have is in Africa, out of nowhere, right? And we implement it within 3 to 6 months going live. What does this imply? It implies that, first of all, is that we have a standard template because we just tell them that this is how we do things. It implies that I need not to set up a data center, negotiate with a local vendor, talk about security. It also implies that I need not to spend 6 months to hire A, DBA, B, programmers, because all these are going to be done centrally in Dubai. So this is one of the low-hanging fruits that we saw recently. Other low-hanging fruits that we will see in the future will be consolidation of our financials. Since we automate through standardization, our financial cycle will be shorter once it's fully implemented.
Right. So basically, again, a large organization, $4.7 billion and growing fast. multi-country, and including, what did you say? Nowhere, but countries, not necessarily the top 10 countries you would think of, but all over the world, literally, implemented in 3 to 6 months, the company's financials, and now set to innovate further. Accounts receivables around consolidation, enabling DP World to disrupt not only shipping and ports, but really all industries going forward.
The logistics, yes. Because as you read in the news, DP World is also into logistics, into warehousing, into free zone. So these are new areas that we want to add more value.
Right. Perfect. Teo, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we talked about some of the areas in financials, but continuing in supply chain manufacturing. Again, hundreds of new features every quarter. And in supply chain is probably the area where some of the most exciting use of the new technologies come in. The first is IoT, or Internet of Things. And really the way to think of IoT, it's again essentially a machine learning specific application. So what IoT does is it collects vast amounts of data from sensors. These could be from your products, or these could be from machines in your supply chain. And what it tries to do is, by detecting patterns on the data from sensors, is alert you in advance of product problems or potential problems with your products or with your supply chain. And as part of that, we've introduced 5 brand new product areas that integrate tightly directly on top of our supply chain. So not just manage your supply chain, but allowing you to do asset monitoring, which is monitoring of the particular assets that you ship, production monitoring, and monitoring the health of your supply chain, fleet monitoring, which takes into account the transportation element of your supply chain, connected worker, allowing you to actually monitor productivity of individuals to see that part of the people part of your supply chain, and then finally the service monitoring. Again, predictive maintenance, predictive repair of your supply chain or your goods and services that you are shipping. Another example is a set of blockchain applications. So in blockchain, really a methodology, and more customers talking about it, to track and trace the goods and services that you produce. And not only the goods and services you produce from a customer-facing perspective, but the different elements that you use to compose and put together an entire piece. So allowing you to track either for maintenance purposes or for proactive purposes, depending on what industry you're in, to make sure you display to your customer the exact goods and services with the exact trail of how that good and service was composed. In addition to our supply chain, a host of new applications, and really these features don't do it justice in terms of our HR applications, because we rebuilt the entirety of the HR user interface, modernized the user interface, made it much more mobile enabled, and made it much more innovative to allow configuration very easily. So in HR, the brand new and consistent across the board user experience, and consistent with a mechanism that allows us to size the application to fit. So you get the exact same user experience, whether you're working on a desktop, a tablet experience, or even a phone experience. And now I do 100% of my HR transactions directly on my phone. It's sized to fit and adjusts to fit for your transactions in a just-in-time method. And we also introduced our HCM Design Studio, which allows you to establish rules, either country-specific rules or individual-specific rules, so you can tailor user interfaces to particular organizations within your groups. You have the same application, but with different rules and different contexts, depending on the different job types or the different manager hierarchy that you have within your organization. And to talk a little bit more about HR and other products, let me welcome our second customer, First Abu Dhabi Bank. And before I welcome them on stage, let's show you a brief video of what they are doing.
FAB, First Abu Dhabi Bank, is now one of the world's largest financial institutions. With FGB and MBAD coming together, we have grown stronger. Combining our strength and capabilities has expanded our resources and global reach, setting us apart as the leading bank in the UAE, the region, and setting a path for us to grow globally. We believe in our talented people who are key to driving our success, and we have one common goal: to grow stronger. Our success is based on reaching out to individuals, corporate, small businesses, and supporting their visions to grow. At FAB, we recognize that customers need more than just product and services. They seek a trusted financial partner who understands and can inspire them to grow. Growth brings strength, and strength brings further growth.
FAB, First Abu Dhabi Bank. Grow stronger.
Didn't want to cut off the music there. So my pleasure to welcome on stage James Vincent, the SVP of HR for First Abu Dhabi Bank. Thanks and welcome, James.
Welcome, everybody.
So maybe similar to Teo, can you give a little bit more background, in addition to the video, for people who aren't local, a little bit about First Abu Dhabi Bank, a little bit of the history, kind of context to, and what you do within the organization?
Sure. So FAB is a merged organization from two legacy banks that are probably quite well known in the UAE. So the National Bank of Abu Dhabi and First Gulf Bank, FGB. We actually merged back in end of 2016-17, and since then we've been integrating. That is not an easy process, as you can imagine, but I've been with the bank for about a year, and have been thoroughly enjoying, most of the time, the journey that we've been on. My remit, I look after the HR transformation elements. Although I've been with the bank for a year, the scale of change that FAB has undertaken means this is my second role within the organization. And I've been in the chair for about 5 months. So I joined this role just about the time that Oracle was going live.
Yeah. So 1 year, 2 roles in a year already, large merger, and particularly from an HR perspective, we do a lot of acquisition and mergers. That's extremely challenging. Maybe could you give the audience a flavor for macro, what are the big challenges for First Abu Dhabi Bank, and then specifically maybe with HR, either some of the challenges you've met or some of the challenges you have going forward to really take advantage of this merger?
Okay, well, and actually on the macro level, 2 banks, everything.
Yeah.
So 2 call centers, 2 IT supports, everything you can imagine, we had 2 of. And underneath that, you have different processes. You have different methods of working. You have different approval limits. You have. And then, of course, the thing that I'm most passionate about is the impact on our people. So underneath all these processes, you have people that are trying to understand how to use them, understand how when an input and output may mean something to Steve, it may mean something very different to James. So when you sit down and say to somebody, okay, we're going to do it this way, this half the room will go, great, and this half the room will go, hold on, that's completely archaic, we don't want to operate that way, and you have to be open at all times to how you help instigate that change.
And then one more thing for context that I neglected at the beginning. 21 countries you operate in?
Yeah, so we're in presence in over 20 countries. We're expanding all the time. We've just opened in Saudi Arabia, which was a big strategic initiative for us. We opened in there in November last year. And we're now, very much as our CEO said in my opening video, trying to implement ourselves on a global stage.
Right. And then, so with that as a challenge, or challenges, 2 of everything, standardized process, growing fast, it started to implement parts of Oracle. Maybe give the audience a sense of what you've implemented so far and maybe where you're going.
Sure. So we are halfway, I guess. We've focused 3 key pillars. So procurement, finance, and HR, of which, of course, the most important is HR. But yeah, we went with Oracle, I guess, as in answer to your first question, we're about halfway through. So we've gone live with our procurement module towards the end of the year. We've gone live and just finished international testing on our HR models on things like absence management, for example. And we're going to switch on our mobile apps, our learning and development, and others. And it's been a really interesting journey because you only, when you start looking at a fully integrated model like that, understand the dependencies between the three systems. Yeah. And as I say, we're very much in the middle of it. So I can't sit here and say that Oracle is fully implemented, because we're not. So we are having some teething problems, we're having some great successes, and we're just finding our way at the moment.
Yeah, actually that's perfect, because it goes to my point that I made earlier, that with the breadth of the applications we have in the complete suite, depending on where you are and where your problem areas are, or maybe where your opportunities and challenges are, you have the ability to implement different parts of the suite first. In your case, procurement, then HR, then finance.
Absolutely. And I think, as some of my partners in Oracle who I've been inundating with phone calls will know, of course, the cloud was, to your point, Steve, was one of the things we were absolutely waiting for. Right. Absolutely imperative to us. We want to implement a global payroll solution. I think one of my roles is to make sure that when a business leader comes to me or to my team and they say, right, what's our run rate for here? What's our expenditure here? That we're able to give data in real time. It's absolutely critical for us. And obviously implementing Oracle in 20 countries is not an easy process because every different country will have different compliance and different regulations. And again, you may design something for the UAE that may not be fit for purpose. So it goes back to my earlier point about being open to change and open to conversations because truly I don't think any one implementation is the same, and we have to be open to that.
Absolutely. So 20 plus countries, large organization, frankly, a combined organization, combined or combining, running from procurement to HR, and really starting to standardize process as well as get out data. Tremendous success story. Great. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then last but not least is we talked about finance, we talked about supply chain, we talked about HR. Same theme in our customer experience applications, sales, service, marketing. Hundreds of new features every quarter with a couple highlights. Again, digital assistants or bots, things that you classically enable, call up for service, have you, instead of calling up for service, allowing you to be able to communicate with a bot to intelligently and quickly answer and direct your questions. And then digital assistants for sales. Your internal salespeople to do salespeople on the road, do updates, get information about their customers and their prospects without having to log in, without having to go through what I'll call an old-fashioned HTML UI, but a modern UI with a digital assistant. And brand new at this conference, what we're going to be talking about, something we call CX Unity, which is as the barriers between sales, service, and marketing start to blur, giving a single source of truth for the customer and be able to drive analytics across that customer base, regardless if it's a sales interaction, a service interaction, or a marketing interaction, for much more efficiency and to have you a single view of the entirety of your customer. Then across the board with all of our applications, with all the data in one place, with fast, innovative features, improving analytics from transactional intelligence, allowing you to monitor basic transactions, to analytics that allow you to analyze transactions or business intelligence, on through to machine learning, pushing you things for discovering you, pushing you suggestions, pushing you anomalies in data on a go-forward basis. All of which then we allow you to extend with our platform as a service. So extend with BI, extend with Java, extend with other utilities to allow you to build adjunct applications aside your Oracle Cloud to allow you this innovation without disruption, but an ability to extend that. So overall, putting together a better user experience in the cloud, complete suite, speed of innovation with machine learning at the heart of it. So that was a little bit on the why cloud, and then I covered a little bit on the why Oracle, and really the customers covered it much better than I would. Now let's get to the why now part of the conversation. And today, we bring to you now the first ever automated update process from our on-premise applications to our cloud applications. And we call these our SOAR program, allowing you a pre-packaged offering to allow you to migrate your existing installs to the cloud basis. From an automatic upgrade utility, a process around it, a predictable schedule, and a predictable cost to assure you that your migration to the cloud can be done in as risk-free way as possible. And one example I want to show on the why now is really Oracle. If we could move back a section. And when I talk about Oracle ourselves running our own applications to manage our own business. So now let me play the part of a customer similar to our customers who are on stage. This is just used as an example so you to see what is possible in our cloud today. So at Oracle, we run a global single instance across the board for all of our products. We are a company of nearly 150,000 people. We operate in essentially every country around the world. We are roughly a $40 billion business. Now, we are a traditional software business, which means we sell product. We are a cloud business, which means we sell subscriptions. We are a consulting business, which means we have people who charge based on time and opportunities. And we are in the hardware business, what you might traditionally think of as Oracle, build-to-order products like our Exadata large machines which run databases. But also, through our Micros acquisition, we have point-of-sale, more commodity types of businesses. So an extremely large, extremely complex business. We run on the same version of the cloud that all of our customers run. And we run the entirety of our business, financials, HR, manufacturing, projects, the billing application, sales applications, marketing applications, all on a single instance cloud, all taking advantage of these same opportunities. And in fact, at Oracle, we started to roll out the new capabilities like our bots. So just on a plane ride over, I'm at the airport, I needed to contact somebody, I didn't need to log into the system, I didn't need to do anything. I sent a text to the bot, I got the person's contact information, I'm immediately able to contact them on a go-forward basis. At the end of this trip, I will have my receipts, I will take a picture of the receipts, I will send that to our bot, I'll run it forward. And I use this as an example of the scale and capacity and the speed at which any organization could do. And really, as an example, as I said at the beginning, we have extraordinarily confidence that we can not only run your business, but enable you to set up for the future. And really, with the combination of the cloud-based applications and our SOAR program, we believe this will be the last upgrade you will ever need to do. Put it into the Oracle Cloud, and we will update for you going forward. So, to summarize, why cloud? Speed of innovation is key. Enabling your business the flexibility to respond to competitors or to get in front of competitors and transform your business, as DP World's goal is really to transform and take over not only their existing industry, but other industries and having that foundation. Why Oracle? The most complete suite of software to allow you to run your business globally and locally, and the flexibility on which to move first to the cloud, adding machine learning today and adding more and more technology that evolves going forward. Why cloud? Why Oracle? And why now? Really two flavors. One is, if you're a smaller organization, we feel very strongly that the cloud is ready and moving quickly is what's there for you. If you're a larger organization, I sometimes get the question, yes, but we're big, we're complicated, we may not be able to do it all at once. The larger and more complicated you are, the more important it is for you to start today. Because maybe something I talked about today is important to you, whether it's blockchain or IoT or machine learning or a new UI. But if you're large and it's going to take you time to move your organization, not only it may be something today, but in fact something that comes about in a year or 2 years that's going to be important, your ability to be on a platform that moves very quickly is of the essence for you competitively and for you cost-wise. So with that, hopefully I was able to answer some of your questions as far as why cloud, why Oracle, why now. I want to thank you again to our customers who joined me on stage. We very much appreciate it. And I thank you all of you for your time and attention. Appreciate it.